Well, good evening, everyone. You hear a show right here talk about for missed opportunities, and I'm sure most of us have been there to the point to where that whenever they're working on something and something that they need to have available, soon or right away or something like that, maybe on email, that they kind of rush around or they just get real frustrated about whenever they're trying to look for something and it's not there right away. Yeah, it seems like almost every day whenever you're going to be working and trying to look for something, and sometimes whenever it's not there. And I know with anybody, especially nowadays with this time around the year, that is to where getting your tax information available. And but so far for anything about tax information, though, for like missed opportunities, and for anything about Google email, and most of us who have used that before, to where you'll use the Google email, and so you have right here, this right here is some of my Photoshop work right here of a drawing that I went and put together. This right here will be me sitting right here, be waiting maybe at the doctor's office, or maybe be waiting to be invited into a meeting room or something like that. Or if anybody knows what I'm talking about, is to where you've heard that song, to where that for if anybody knows what I'm talking about you come up to those moments to where you feel like you're rushed around, to where people are wondering, hey, that when are you going to be out of the meeting room, or hey, when are you going to be here? So it's like for anything about missed opportunities. And the way we call this for missed opportunities is that some that would maybe say is to where that basically means is to where something that should have come to your immediate attention that was right in front of you. And I drew this suitcase right here as example right here of like a little laptop carrying case right here. But let's just say that if one of our jobs would be is to where like to locate something that's right in front of us, but then we don't see it right away. So it's like anything about for what we would have missed. And for anybody who does get real frustrated about anything that they may have missed, that should have come to their immediate attention. And if anybody were to say that, well, it wasn't my fault because it's like it didn't come to me on time or something like that. But still, though, that it kind of reminds me of that song as to where it goes by. If I can remember right, the band artist who sings it it goes by as to where it wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. Whatever it takes, no matter my heart breaks, I will be right here waiting for you. And whenever I remember used to listening to that song as whenever I was a little kid, and I can just remember having these thoughts in my mind toward it. If I was at the grocery store or anywhere, that just think about is toward it. For if I'm going to be spending a certain amount of time in the store, and thinking is toward it. That don't take too long or something like that, or you'll miss your ride, or you'll miss the appointment, or something else that you may have missed also. And really, I guess the goal would maybe be is toward it. Try not to think about is toward what you missed, because I know, like with anybody, that if they're going to be trying to work on something, and that they may get upset, and they may get really what you call, I don't know if you would call it down and depressed, but they would get real upset, and then they would get aggravated about opportunities that they may have missed. And one of those opportunities could have been is to where maybe you lost track of time. And then for how we handle it, to where if we misread an email, or maybe if we lost track of time. So let's just say that if we did wind up losing track of time, that really, if that's really considered our fault, or if that's just something that just happens. But really, if anybody were to say that, hey, get over it, okay? It happens. No big deal. But still, that almost anything that goes wrong at the time, people say that, well, that they need to find somebody to blame, and if it's going to be somebody like me, that just the way I'm sitting down, and just the way I'm dressed, and have this carrying case right here. This was right here was supposed to be an example right here of a laptop. So if anybody wants to, where I have right here is my Photoshop work right here, and just think about it to where, yeah, that okay, you didn't get the job, or that you missed the appointment, or anything like that, but still that just think about it to where for there could be other social media sites that could be an example of what you call maybe missed opportunities, is toward it. that is something that was posted on there that that was important that should have came to your attention, or maybe about an invitation to be invited to a meeting, or for any groups or something like that, for anything related to connecting to other professionals, maybe on Google Mail or something like that. So just looking at these at this drawing right here, some of my Photoshop work right here. This was right here was me right here, and if anybody warns us toward it, that yeah, that you were dressed to where that you were that just to be able to go to the meeting, that they asked you to fill out some forms, or maybe while you're there you can go and get on your laptop and then check out your information, online files or something like that, and but just think about it, too. Whenever I hear that song, this tour, if you're going to be talking to somebody and they may say something like this tour, yeah, I'm at the airport, or I'm updating, I'm checking my status on the passport or on my visa, or something like about your resume, or maybe trying to take care of something related to the car, or you're on your phone, you're talking to somebody, it's related to an online interview over the phone or something like that. So if anybody will warn to where that you come up to these moments to where you would just assume, okay, this is what's going to happen during the meeting, that they're just going to talk to you about a few questions, but then they ask you about some files, and yeah, that do you have that ready? Like, oh, actually, no, I don't. I apologize. I wasn't quite clear about that, and so let's just say that if you were in a meeting room and somebody asked you to see that, oh, okay, you start talking about something about your resume, and they may ask to see that, and then they may ask to see something else that you may not have on file right away, and so sometimes it's like, oh, okay, no big deal. You can show it to me next time. So if anybody warns this story, yeah, that whenever you're thinking about you going to a job interview or anything such as what you call as like anything that you would think they would assume that's going to happen. Also, they assume that this is what they're going to ask for, and then you want to prepare to have that ready, or maybe about anything about emails though. But talk about for like missed opportunities. And whenever I hear that song, this tour, wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you, or something like that. And it's supposed to be like a if you want to call it like a romantic type of song story. And if I can remember, I think it's Air Supply or somebody who, the music artist who sings that. But still, that talking about for missed opportunities. The one thing that we can maybe keep to remember is toward it, really, is it supposed to be anything about a missed opportunity, or if it's supposed to be as to where that, hey, don't worry about it. You know what you could, or that it's also, it could also be known as to where that, really, did you really miss anything, or that, yeah, that by the time that, let's just say if it takes a couple of days just to be able to, just for the waiting process, or just to be able to get a lot of things updated, and sometimes by the time you finally get something accomplished, or by the time you find something or discover something that winds up coming in progress, and let's just say if it's about maybe 20 days later, and then you say, I am so sorry, it's my fault, I misplaced a document, I am so sorry, I'm late, I lost track of time, and we come up to those situations as to where that really, I'm like, whose fault is it really for anything that goes wrong? And sometimes, though, it seems like it's toward it, anything about what you call emails that were received, or applications that were supposed to be updated, interviews that were supposed to be what you call attended to, or meetings that you were supposed to attend to, and let's just say if it's 20 days later, and by the time that you finally get somewhere, and somebody say, I am so sorry, I misplaced the document, and then I try and you don't owe any apologies. And let's just say if that's the case, though, if somebody says, you have nothing to be sorry about, that this, there are no apologies, that they may explain to you about what the problem could have been, as to where that, yeah, that the opportunity, and I know, like with anybody, that just to make the long story short, if anybody has run into the situation about for applications that were supposed to be turned in, or maybe if it's anything related to your taxes, tax forms that were supposed to be turned in and signed and dated or anything like that. And you're like Warren toward it, that, you ask you may have asked the questions toward it, hey, what did I do wrong? What am I missing here? I'm like, any opportunities that we're missing. And so if anybody has coming up to that situation toward it, you're so used to people blaming you for anything that goes wrong to where it just seems like to where that you just automatically know the step is to where, okay, this is what I'm going to go ahead and do. Okay, that didn't work. Well, I'll go ahead and I got another idea here. I'll go ahead and, so let's just say that, people may call it a mistake, but then they may say that, oh no, it wasn't really a mistake. It was just something that just happened. But it's something that happened, but still, that talk about for anything about what you call missed opportunities. So the first thing that could have happened is toward it, yeah, you sent your information by email, but then they may have mentioned about something about, it could have been what you call, something about an email error, or maybe anything about a glitch or so in the system, and they didn't get the files that you were trying to send to them. Maybe if it's anything about tax forms or maybe doctor's appointments. So I know with most of us nowadays, I know that besides Google Mail, email though, that there could be other, accounts that we could be managing our paperwork online, and if they're going to be managing your tax papers, tax information online, that there's going to be a way to send a message and then send an attachment. And sometimes, though, it seems like it's to where, okay, if it's been more than 48 hours and then you haven't got no response or anything like that, and sometimes it seems like it's to where that, by the time they do respond, and then they may mention about a few things that are wrong with the information about a few things that are missed on there that are incomplete, or there's a few typo errors on here, and so it's like, well, that don't surprise me. It happens almost all the time. Like, well, just to let you know that's what we found. Like, and yeah, I'm sure that you found a number of things too. One of those will be is to where, yeah, I'm so used to hearing that as to where, yeah, you misunderstood me or anything about, was not completed yet. So, gotten quite a bit used to it to the point to where that, really, why would I want to spend more of my time worrying about it other than as to where if I just, keep checking back on it as to where, okay, did you get the application? Oh, okay, well, did you get the forms? Did you get the files? Oh, okay, does everything look good? Oh, okay, but still that, anything about us to where, like on a daily basis, that whenever you check your email and didn't get no response, and at the time, you're like, Warren, to where really, whose fault is it? Just because something that was not delivered like it was supposed to, or any other source of opportunity, such as that, that you were supposed to check up on something, or you were supposed to update something, and that opportunity was missed, from last week, that you were supposed to update something or something like that. But still, that anything that will be called that's right in front of us, and you're like wanting to wear like a suitcase right here, or like a little carrying case, like a luggage carrier or something like that, like a little laptop carrying case. And if anybody say that nobody would have missed that, I'm like, that really, I'm sure most of that would be visible to anybody, especially if it's going to contain your documents, and it's like you walk right past it, you didn't see it, but still, if anybody wanted to, or if you're going to have a lot going on, it's possible that you could be holding something that you're looking for. If anybody say, yeah, whenever you do have a lot going on, it seems like it to where that happens is to where that what you're looking for is right in your hand, but then you just don't realize it. And one of those will be, it's like, yeah, well, where did I put my phone? Where's my phone? Where did I put my phone? Where's your phone? Yeah, well, where did I put my phone? Where's my phone? It's in your hand. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't add all those details, of course, in the picture, but that just kind of keyed to my mind as to where if anybody say that, yeah, if anybody has come up to those moments as to where that's something that you're looking for, you're looking to your left and looking to your right, and then you got so much going on, and I say, I'm trying to look for something. Oh, is it in your hand? I'm like, yeah. And And then that's just a thing too, that if you're going to be half awake, that you're so busy and you're digging through your wallet or maybe your purse just to find something, and they say, well, are you looking for that, your driver's license, or are you for a card or something? Like, oh, it's okay, it's on the countertop. So whenever you're going to have a lot of things going on, it's like, yeah, it's right beside you, or it's in your hand, or something. You have a lot going on to where you don't realize about what you're holding, or maybe what's right next to you. But still, that if anybody wants us that, yeah, that shows about us tour about how busy you are, and that sometimes it's like, it's sometimes you want to come in that moment to where it's time to rest for a few seconds, to give your mind a rest for a few seconds before you start working. But anyway, but you have right here to talk about for missed opportunities. And so if anybody were warrant where, yeah, you may get down and upset about anything that you may have missed, and then you may say, I am so sorry that I missed that. I'm like, but still, that, for anybody that, if you're going to come up to that point in time to where anything about Google email, that that there may have been a couple of calls. Like with me, I use Google Mail a lot, and just a lot of things that use my laptop for. And let's just say that that people may have by the time that they connect with me, maybe on Google Mail one of these days, and then they may say that, I am so sorry I missed the opportunity to connect with you. I've just been so busy. And so let's just say, to make the long story short, that if anybody were to say is toward it, that for who really owes the apology for anything that you may have missed, and anything that we could call for misunderstanding. But still, that I guess maybe not everything is due for an apology, but then just think about us toward it. If we want to call it maybe lesson learned, or if we want to call us toward it, that yeah, that for what's the best ways of how to describe this, maybe on a resume about jobs, though, is to where that if you're going to be working hard enough to where you actually find something, and you actually believe that you're actually getting somewhere, or maybe if it was a missed opportunity from the beginning. Let's just say if you start working on something as of January the 5th, and let's just say as of January the 31st through February, you finally wind up getting somewhere, and then by the time you actually get somewhere, by the time they get your resume, and by the time you connect with them, you may say, I am so sorry I missed you. Like, no, I'm the one who owes you an apology. And so sometimes it seems like we come to those moments as to where that missed opportunities, as to where whose fault is it for anything about what we may have missed. And I use Google email, by the way, just because that's a site that I usually use just to connect with other people. For maybe you connect with them on a Google circle, or maybe by email. You're going to be using your Gmail a lot, to connect with others, and then besides other email servers that we use on a daily basis. And so let's just say that by the time we do connect with other people, and I think if it's going to be a job opportunity, or maybe a doctor, and they may say something about us to where that really about who has done more work than compared to anybody there at the office, and maybe about or anything about what you call getting an agreement, or maybe a settlement. So I know whenever I hear that song, as to wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. And I guess that basically means as to where that every time I think with that song, I kept thinking about as to where that anybody who's going to be waiting for me, that I do keep thinking about as to where, well, come on, just carry on without me. Well, go ahead and and then there's going to be those moments as to where that if you're going to you can maybe be invited into a meeting room, maybe from an email, or maybe from your phone, and sometimes you may feel as to where that if you can't join within a certain time, and it seems like toward, and then you feel like it's toward you're just going to have to miss it because you had to take care of something else that came up, and it came to your immediate attention, and you just can't attend the meeting right away. And so that's just a thing, is toward that whenever you got a lot going on, that sometimes you just really want to say that, I'm so sorry I missed you the last time, and really just to get this whole matter straight about with anybody, that for any missed opportunities. is toward about knowing about whose fault it is, or it just says toward that, hey, that, this is, it's not all your fault, or if it's anything about us toward that jobs or something to be proud of. And sometimes you just gotta really learn how to use that word or phrase as something to be proud of, like I mentioned before about the gold monument, is toward that if anybody were to say is toward that by the time they feel like that they're getting somewhere and something to be proud of, because that even though whenever things do, whenever a lot of the opportunities, a lot of stuff that comes up on a daily schedule, stuff that was postponed or canceled or delayed, that sometimes it seems like it's toward it. It seems like to where people want to blame somebody for anything that goes wrong, and maybe that could be anybody. And they can maybe be, it's like between, anybody say that could be you or I, or maybe the manager or somebody else, that they may want to blame somebody. But still, that they're at first, but then after maybe a few days, they may say that, oh no, that's, don't you be sorry. I'm like, that's not your fault. And so sometimes, though, that people may think is toward it, just to apply for a job, that they don't have all the experience that there is that's required, and they may say that they missed a lot, a lot of years, that they missed a lot of opportunities just to be able to gain experience, just to gain the right training, just to be able to get hired onto a job. And what's the best ways of how to resolve this situation is toward anybody who thinks that is toward that they don't have the right experience or they don't have the right training just to be able to take the job. That there was a number of things that they missed about this about the situation. And I guess the best thing that we can maybe think about is to where maybe the thought is to where I am willing to have the 10 hours or so per week of training. It could also maybe be is toward I am willing to correct the misleading errors on the application, or maybe if it's anything about it, to where if you are willing to take the responsibility of taking care of something. And I know, like with anybody, that you may have heard that song a number of times, to where wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. And it's supposed to be like, say, like a love and romantic song, but still, that each time I hear that song or any source of songs like that, anything related to, like, well, if you're not here on time, or you were not at the right place at the right time, or something like that, and then people may say that, well, that's your fault. That's your own fault because you missed it. Well, that's your fault. That's your problem. And so it seems like at the time to where that for people may ask the question to where how do we handle that, to where that people may say something like that's your problem, or that's your fault, or not our problem. And that kind of puts that person in a situation to where that they got to try harder just to be able to accomplish their goals. And with that goal could be is to where, oh yeah, sorry I missed it. Well, I'll go and work harder next time. And so that's why maybe somebody that may decide to where that they want to go ahead and get an email, maybe join a conversation, maybe on Google Plus, or maybe join on Facebook, or maybe if they decide to get an account, to maybe start a connection with somebody. And so it just seems like that any sorts of missed opportunities. The main reason to why people that may connect on social media, and one of those reasons is because it's going to remind them from years ago, from whenever they missed something, it was like, that's your problem. Okay, well, remember that next time. Better luck next time. But whenever they connect on social media, it seems like that they have a number of opportunities to where that they can reconnect, or something else that they want to inform somebody about. So it just seems like it's toward that. Well, the way we think about this, about Google email, about missed opportunities, anything that you may have missed from over the years, you're still going to remember it, no matter what the situation it seems like is toward. You're still going to remember that, even though if it happened years ago. 11 years ago, yeah. If you remember where you were 11 years ago, that was before you had a phone. That was before you had an email. And just think about anything that you do that you're going to be doing on a daily basis, even at work, that's going to remind you of moments as to where that you may miss them. And just think about as to where anything about, yeah, you know why I got an email, you know why I decided to get on this connection with Google or maybe on Skype or anything like that. So that way I don't miss any more opportunities. And if anybody were to say that that's the answer that they usually give is to where I don't want to miss any more opportunities about job offers or about applications or if it's anything about concerning the matter, especially doctor's appointments. And maybe 80% of anybody who's going to be using a social media may say that. And so that's why that if anybody like me though that you get real upset about whenever you miss something, and that's whenever that you want to think about the thought as toward it. This is something that you think that's going to come in use later on, and one of those could be was the tax forms. So if anybody wanted toward it, it is what you call this. I am so sorry, and sometimes we come up with those moments as to where that there's nothing to be sorry about. That hey, I'm like, so it seems like it's to where that this is a moment to where you just start crying and being proud, or if it's about it to where that you owe somebody an apology. But still, that for anything about missed opportunities is that just think about the important reason about understanding about for the use of for what you do, and then on a daily basis, and then the license agreement, and for anything about for what you do as a professional. And for anybody who's a parents, though, the parents, you say that to be proud of their children and knowing about them, like, yeah, that whenever you graduate, they may be proud of you for that. Whenever you get promoted on a job, they're going to be proud of you for that. But sometimes it seems like you just really feel like telling them, don't be proud yet, okay? You may feel like telling mom or dad or your cousin or anybody that, really don't be proud yet. Please don't be proud yet, because I still got, this is only what you call the beginning. I still got a lot more work to do. But still, that anything about what you call missed opportunities, though, is that the way we think about this is to where that I also keep thinking about is to where that a lot of things that I may have missed from over the years, and I do get real aggravated whenever I miss those things, like movies that came out from a few months ago to maybe ads or maybe notifications or anything about that. But sometimes anybody that may say is to it that anything that's going on with somebody else's schedule, and they may say that, well, you're not really missing anything, really. I'm like, well, you didn't go to the meeting. Well, you didn't really miss anything. All they really talked about was this or that. So if anybody were aware to where for what we can agree about and what we can disagree about is to where that if there was something that they missed from the meeting, from the orientation, or something that they did not miss from the orientation or from the meeting. But so far as for missed opportunities, though, is that really that how many of us are really going to get an email just because a number of things that they missed from last year or maybe from 5 years ago, they just kind of keep that in mind. It seems like that's just the way it usually is that, yeah, they keep that in mind. Anything from their past mistakes, they're going to keep that in mind. But sometimes, though, it's like, yeah, you think ahead of time that in 3 years from now, this is what I'm going to go ahead and try to work on and try to improve, like the online application, the online usage of the site or something like that. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I talk about for missed opportunities, and I just want to talk about that as to where that each time I heard that song about for wherever you go, whatever you do, I will be right here waiting for you. No matter my heart, no matter what it takes, no matter my heart breaks, I will be right here waiting for you. And each time I hear that song, it's going to remind me of a time to where if I'm going to be in the grocery store or anywhere, that for how long somebody's going to be willing to wait for me before that they decide to proceed to the next step, or they're going to take off without me, they're going to carry on without me. And sometimes that they may say is to where, no, that there is a rule that we cannot leave without you. And I do wonder about those moments as to where that for if anybody will warrant to where that we cannot proceed until you join the meeting, or that there's something about you that is very important about this job. And I guess I can maybe tell anybody that I've been waiting for those those moments as to where anything about what I do and anything about me as an artist and as a designer, waiting for anybody to mention to me about the opportunity to where it's important for somebody else as to where that, hey, it's important that we keep you on the team, and for anything that you can make useful, that we can make useful, for anything that we do also. So it's like, think about it as to where the basic rules. And sometimes though I do warrant to where that anything that it's like it was an idea, and somebody else liked that idea, and they're like, well, we want to see more details. Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't provide a whole lot of details because that was not on the job description. Like, well, you don't mind if we ask for more information, do we? Like, and that's fine, but that was my idea, of course. I didn't really, if it was not on a job description, then maybe I would assume that it's not, required, but still, that, I say a lot of, law long stories and a lot of opportunities, really, but still, that, to make the long story short, is how I say, but, to make a long story short, it's like after I graduated, this is what I was able to come up with, and I used it, and maybe I didn't use all of it, but still, that drawing this picture right here, I just really want to think of a moment as toward that really how important it is just to have me on a team, and how important it is just to be able to have me, and just to be able to hire me for the position, for a designer. And for anybody else, that they may say that, you may want to apologize just because you think that you missed something, but they may say, no, you didn't miss everything. But still, that for anything about Google email, and so if anybody were warned toward it, anything about maybe a community source of communication, and if anybody warns us to where if they want to connect with me later on, just ask me, and I'll be able to provide them more details about that too. But anyway, but anything about what's called job opportunity, for connections, if it's Facebook or Behance or any social media site like that. But anyway, for a topic for missed opportunities, thanks for watching. Have a great